None? Cool, thanks.
Does it feel real now after the 53-man cut and having training camp in the rearview mirror?
I was just explaining this to her on the way in. Everything's kind of running together. You know, I've been doing this for so long, been through so many camps. It's kind of just gets to a point to where we're starting to do things where it counts. So you've been waiting on that moment this whole time, but you got to take every day as a blessing, as the opportunity to be able to step out there and make the team. But now that 53 has been made, everything else is kind of settle down and do things for real now.
Doing it as long as you have, is there like an internal clock that kind of goes off where it's like, okay, it is time now to kind of start focusing on practicing to win games rather than just practicing to prepare for games?
No. Pretty much even coming into the spring, that was been kind of the goal. And I know that's for me personally, but I tried to express that to the younger guys, to the guys first time coming into the system, is every day is a day to get out there and get better, make the team better as well.
Josh had talked about for younger players, like these rookies, they've never game planned for an opponent as an NFL team. What kind of goes into that? And I'm sure you're going to be mentoring guys in terms of that moving forward.
The little things. And I know it kind of sounds cliche in football, but it's the little things. What positions people normally play, what kind of things to look out for. And it's across the board, offense, defense, and special teams. We want to find all the little things, the fine details, and we're going to go over those, hammer those home. And that just makes the game that much faster for us when you know a little bit of everything.
You had any more good old man jokes sent your way lately?
Not lately. Ever since I told y'all about the Jesus joke, that was everybody kind of eased up on me on those jokes. So I haven't got those. I just kind of get the fast old man and the strong old man now.
What do you think is going to tell you? Like every year, do you kind of reassess like just how you feel, where you are? Like what's going to tell you when it's enough?
I left that in the hands of my wife and my son. If they see that I'm getting a little too slow or if I'm getting knocked around a little bit too much, they're going to tell me when to hang it up. So I'm giving them all the power on that one.
I guess what do they tell you this offseason? Like, hey, you're good?
Actually, me and my son are just getting ready to he was playing football and stuff during the offseason. So he wanted to go work out. And we went for a run, and I think like halfway through, like this is like what we normally do for conditioning. Like halfway through, he looked at me. He was like, "If you feel like this, you can play until I make it to the league." And I just looked at him and said, "Nah, that's not the plan for me," because he's only 12, so that's a long time for people waiting around. But kind of just go back to them. We all sit down, go over the season. If we got questions about plays or anything that happened on the field, we kind of sit down as a family and go over it. I even got my daughters, they're getting into it and starting to say, "Hey, Daddy, you're number 34. You know, it's not just they recognize the hair coming out of the helmet now. They're actually paying attention to the game. So it's been fun. We're going to try to continue to make it fun, but it's kind of going to be a family ordeal when and if I ever hang it up.
Is your son a running back?
No. My son is 12 years old and he's 5'9". So I don't think running back is in the cards for him. His mom's 5'10". His grandfather, her dad is 6'7". My dad is short, but my grandfather was 6'6". So he has a chance, you know, somewhere in there. He's going to be a lot bigger than I am. So we're working on everything but running back right now. But he likes playing offense, but he loves playing defense. So he's a Chandler Jones fan. Of course, now he's a Max Crosby fan. So he might have his hand in the dirt one day. I don't know. But as of right now, he's sticking to the offense.
You learned at an early age in your NFL career the importance of special teams.
Yes.
It sometimes gets overlooked, you know, fans.
Big time.
You know, but what would you say to that about the importance of special teams and why it shouldn't go over?
It's an interesting story, actually. I actually had this conversation yesterday. My junior year of college, he was our tight ends coach, but he was also the special teams coordinator, Coach Shebus. He walked into the locker room and he was like, because I was planning on leaving my junior year. He told me, if you want to leave, you might want to pick up special teams. I didn't play any going into that year. And then I told him, I was like, yeah, whatever you need me to. And then I think I was in the top of the SEC in tackles that year. And I kind of just stuck with it. But looking back on that, I'm glad I had that conversation with him because coming into the league, we had a special team coach, Scotty O'Brien, who coached Priest Holmes and a couple other great running backs, but they all started on special teams. So that was my introduction. I'm watching highlights of these guys, their rookie year. Terrell Davis, he's in that conversation as well. Just run down and completely just melee guys first time doing it. But they also end up playing running back. So to that point, a lot of guys, you make the team playing special teams. You earn your position after you make the team. And some guys, like me, Matthew Slater, find a home in special teams. And you make a pretty good living doing it. So it is very important because we do a lot of the dirty work. The defense doesn't just get to go out there and start to drive on the opponent's, like 4-yard line or whatever. The offense doesn't get set up on a 40-yard return without special teams being on the field. So it's very important. We try to express that to the young guys. I take it very seriously, been taking it seriously this time. So, it's a big part of the game, and things are changing for what they say is the safety of the players. At the same time, we all want to get out there and play football.
Looking through your career, you've blocked punts,
yes,
returned kickoffs, you've led your team in tackles on special teams. Is there a favorite part of it that you like, or do you kind of take pride in all of it and being able to do all of it?
Every time I go out on the field, it's an opportunity and it's a blessing to take care of the team and have those guys have my back. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm out there throwing a block. I have the ball in my hands, or just going out there and putting pressure on the punter. Like I said, it's all to help the team, and as our running back coach KP would say, you're out there to help your buddy. So it's not about all the glory and who gets what. We go out there and play for each other, and if we block a punt, we all block a punt. We return the ball for a touchdown. As you've seen, we get excited for big plays. We're all in the end zone celebrating that touchdown. So this is real big for this team and, all teams I have been on, but we're trying to express that importance and, get as many hands on deck as we can.
Could you talk about your son maybe outgrowing a running back position and how does that almost make you happy knowing where the position is kind of going right now?
No. Like I said, he's not there yet, and he's only 12. He's in the 7th grade. Nobody knows what he's going to be doing. I just know he's going to be a lot taller than I am. And I've had, like, LeGarrette Blount, he was taller than me. He was a hell of a running back. So it could be any position, but I know whatever he does decide to do, because I told him, like, when he was 6, when he was really into chess, I would be at every chess tournament with body paint on, celebrating you. So whatever he plans to do, he's got his number one supporter. I'm going to be out there like it was a football game anyway.
Have you reconnected with Coach Shibas since he got here and joined the staff at UNLV a few months ago?
No, I have not, and I didn't even know that, but I'm glad you told me that because now I can go thank him personally. Appreciate that.
It's your 12th year in the NFL. How often has it been that everybody in that running back room is back the next year like it happened this year with the Raiders, and how beneficial is it for you guys?
Oh, that's very rare. I think in my career we've only had that maybe twice. And it's great when you don't have to do a lot of teaching. You don't have to go back and was like, hey, when we do this is – when you have a group that comes back, everybody's all up to speed, it makes our room go that much faster. It makes just player install for us that much faster. And it just helps us. It's a lot easier to go out there and cheer for the guys because we're not over there. It's like, what we supposed to do on this play? We all clicking on – everybody's clicking. So when you get that whole room to come back, it's just that much more energy in the room. It's just a carryover from the year before. So it's great to have everybody back. Really great to have everybody back. Get to spread the ball around and stuff like that. So we'll see where we go with that.
Great out there.
Oh, love seeing 8 out there. So happy. So happy he's back.
How did he look out there today, Brandon? Number 8.
He looks like 8. I mean, well, it looks like 2-8, but he looks like 8. You know what I'm saying? He, same old Josh. He was away from football. He missed it. We missed him, but we're back to work, and having him out there today was big for everybody out there, including him.
You spoke to Zamir last week. He said he kept in touch with him, texted. Is it the same case with the rest of the guys with you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We talked to Josh the entire time. From the time we found out what was going on till he finally said, hey, I'll see y'all tomorrow. We was all in contact with him the whole time, wishing him nothing but the best. He came back healthy, ready to work, and came back ready to work with him. So good to see him now. Miss that guy.
Right. Thanks, guys.
How have you felt the chemistry of the defense heading into now with a roster that's not 90 guys out there anymore?
I feel like it's been really well. Been going really well. I feel like every day we're growing, we're learning each other more and more. So, we just got to keep that up, going through, finishing out the week and then going into game week next week.
I feel like the energy was it's kind of transferred from preparing for the season in training camp to kind of starting to think about an actual opponent, an actual game? Does that kind of is there a little bit of a general brush?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of start to feel it a little bit as you get closer to the season, but I think it's important that this week especially we kind of just stay in tune to the things that we need to work on and grow at as a team, and finish this week out strong before we really start getting into the season.
Now that the roster's kind of set, you look around, do you think this team has what it takes to be able to compete to the level you guys want to?
Yeah, I like where we're at. I like the guys that we have on our team. I like the group we have in the secondary. Got a lot of trust in those guys, and I see, what we've been bringing to the table every day in terms of work ethic and coming to work, and I like that about our group, and I feel like we just got to keep at it and keep growing and getting better every day.
Your coaches and teammates have talked about how you and Trayvon kind of joined at the hip, in the facility. Did that kind of happen organically, or did you feel like it was important for you to kind of partner up with a young player like that to help him?
I think it was a little bit of both. It's definitely very important for the two safeties back there to be on the same page, and as a secondary as a whole. So, it kind of just started organically, just talking about ball and things like that, and then, just as a secondary and just us as well, just trying to, hang out off the field, get to know each other and whatnot. So, I feel like that transfers a lot onto the field with chemistry as well.
With a lot of promise as a second-round pick. What do you see in Trayvon?
I mean, he's very athletic. He's got the skill set you need for a safety in this league. He can do it all. So, I really like where he's at and how much he's grown. And, I'm expecting some big things out of him this year.
How important is it starting off on the right foot when you look at that schedule and you got back-to-back road games, 3 of the first 4 on the road? How big is that game in Denver?
I think in the NFL, every game is very important, especially divisional games. So, I think it's very important for us to not really look ahead and just, stay at the grind each day, take it one day at a time, one game at a time.
First taste of the AFC West, what have you heard about the rivalries? Because Raider Nation, they don't like the Broncos, the Chargers, and the Chiefs.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I try not to get too wrapped up into it, but coming from the NFC East, there's some big rivalries there too. So I kind of know how those rivalry games go. They're a little more intense, but like I said, can't get wrapped too much into it. Got to just go out there and play ball and approach it as any other game.
You guys talk about process a lot and sticking and believing in the process. A couple of years ago, you were at the Eagles when you came in here, and it was kind of a low point for you guys, losing that game, and the record wasn't all that good. You eventually got on a run that season, but was that kind of proof of just kind of sticking with it, even though things might not look great early on, but sticking with it and good things will happen?
Yeah, definitely. I'm huge on, just trusting your process, not panicking when things hit the fan. And, you really got to just, if you believe in something, you got to stick to it, approach it day by day, and trust and have faith that if you put that work in, it's gonna work out in the end, and you just, you got to stick it out.
What is when you talk to the you've obviously had success with some teams. What is your message to the young guys, maybe of what it takes to have success and sustain it once you get there?
It's pretty redundant, but I think that it's just routine, your approach of just coming to work every day. I think that's the biggest thing of what I try to pass down to them is I've been in those shoes where you're kind of just trying to work your way up. And, if you try to look too far ahead, you're not going to accomplish what you need to accomplish in the moment. So, you just got to stay in the moment and approach things day by day.
Did you have to learn that? Or is that something that was just kind of natural to you? And was there somebody that gave those messages to you when you were coming up?
A little bit of both. I mean, always kind of been that underdog to where I've had to, keep working my way up. So, it's just continued to learn that as well through the league because, we're human. It's only human nature to look ahead or worry about things. But, you always just got to stay in your mind and have that belief, have that faith, and trust your process, trust your work ethic, and just bring it each day.
That's good. Thank you.
Yep, y'all have a good one.
Question for AJ?
Good afternoon.
What did you think of Daniel's kick going through and how impressive the kick was?
Dude, it cleared by a lot, didn't it? I mean, it's one of those ones too. 62 yards, so it's It's quite the kick. He's walking off. He's already on the numbers pretty much by the time the kick goes in. I stood there a little bit longer just to double check it was going to go in. But, yeah, it was a pretty cool moment to be a part of. I'm just so impressed by him consistently. So watching him put that ball through the uprights was a pretty cool moment.
Kind of started with you coming up with I wouldn't say errant snap, but, you had to make a play. How much pride do you take on that when it might not be perfect, that you still have the ability to get it down where it needs to be?
Yeah, I do take a lot of pride on it, and I do think that it's kind of my job to make everybody right, make everything kind of click. I'm the intermediary between the snap and the kick, and so my job is just cover up everything and make sure Daniel feels as little as possible. And credit to Daniel, he has no hesitation in that kick. Whether I put that ball down or not, he's swinging. And so, yeah, that's something I take a lot of pride in. It's something we work on, making sure that, having somebody else toss them. So we work on getting bad snaps just because stuff happens in a game and you got to be ready for everything. The ball's not going to be perfect every single time, and you just got to be ready to react and put the ball down and let the kicker just swing through and do his job.
What went through your mind when they called your unit onto the field to try a 62-yarder?
Yeah, I wasn't necessarily shocked, but it's definitely a long one. And you're sitting there kind of doing the mental math there on second and third down. You're like, all right, well, are we going to be in long field goal range? Yes, definitely. And then once they call it, you just kind of got to go through your normal routine. So there's not necessarily anything that's like different about it being 62 versus something else. But yeah, it was kind of funny. We were like talking about it before the game, like. Because there's been quite a few long field goals that have happened in preseason, because it's sort of an opportunity for a lot of coaches, I think, just to see what the leg their kicker has is, and there's less consequences, obviously, in the preseason. So, yeah, we were talking about it, and Dana was like, yeah, maybe this is the week we get a long one, and I think he kind of spoke it into existence. So,
Is there more confidence now, like going into if there's an opportunity to close a half with a long field?
It'd be weird if there was less confidence, right? Yeah, definitely. Like, once you see it go in, it's like, all right, cool. Just cross the 50 basically, and we got a shot at 3.
What does that sound like from your position? You're sitting there and you literally are holding the ball, and his leg comes flying through. What is that? There's not too many people in the world understand what that feeling is like, what that feels like, what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that it's so loud in the stadium. I wish everybody could hear what I heard. It's like a rocket going off. It's like a cannon explosion, but it doesn't really compare to like 60,000 people yelling, unfortunately. But yeah, honestly, it's kind of funny because just based off the way the ball sounds off his foot, I probably could not look up and get it pretty much accurately whether or not the ball is going to go in or not, because it just sounds different when it comes off his foot the right way versus the way he doesn't want it to come off. But his kick is just so impressive, and that noise it's really cool. It's a lot of people say that like the best sound in sports is like a hard hit fastball or something like that crack, but that's just because like nobody really cheers at baseball games and they can't hear field goals. But if people could hear field goals, that's the best noise in sports.
Mic'd up maybe?
So what?
Mic'd up maybe?
Yeah, maybe mic'd up. Put like a camera, and then I'll just kind of lean in with the chest, be like, oh, can you hear that?
Speaking of baseball, there's pitchers who talk about how they know what they're going to be able to do in a game based on what's happening in the bullpen. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they get tricked. They're not feeling good in the bullpen. They come out and throw a gem anyway. From a punter's perspective, do you have a pretty good idea going into a game, kind of what kind of game you're going to have, or have you been tricked by what has or hasn't happened?
Yeah, so I just basically lie to myself. So if I have like a really good warm up, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm hot today. Like I can't miss. Like I got all my stuff. And then if I have like the worst warm up ever, I'm like, okay, I got all the bad ones out of the way. Like only got good punts left in the tank. So for me mentally, like I'm just like fibbing up in my brain. But yeah, I have pretty much decided there's no real correlation between warm-ups. It's just there's such a small sample size. I think for pitchers it's different, right? Because especially if you're a starting pitcher, you're going to go out there, you're expecting to throw 70, 80, 90 balls. So over the course of that many pitches, the bad ones or the outliers kind of just wash out a little bit, and your average stuff is really what you're seeing. But for kicking and punting, I might go into a game and I had 7 punts in all of preseason or something like that. So it's like, that's a small sample size. Every time I go kick, I probably kick like 70 balls. So I got 7 punts over 3 games. Like if 1 or 2 go wrong, you don't have like the margins necessarily to make it up. So there's no real room for error. So I would say there's really no correlation. But yeah, I just lie to myself in my head and get the result I'm looking for.
So we saw a lot of competitions around the league, kicking competitions, punting in camp. You guys didn't have that. You've been through one, of course, in the past. But is it more difficult maybe to get prepared or less if you don't have that competition for somebody for camp, if you're kind of just ramping up against yourself?
The way I think it's different maybe when you're a rookie, but moving on from there, I don't really see it as any different necessarily. Sure, there's a guy that's like in the building that you're seeing every single day and that you're kind of kicking against, but I kind of have a standard for myself, and I would imagine the coaches in front office have a standard for the position. So there's certain things they're looking for out of like the punter. And if I'm not meeting those marks, even if there's nobody here, they're going to find somebody else that can do that job. So it's really, there's always competition. And at the end of the day, like, there's not going to be anybody here that's going to make me hold myself to a higher standard. I already hold myself to an extremely high level of what I want to succeed, what I want to accomplish, and just the expectations I have for myself. So there's not really going to be any difference if somebody else is here or if they're not here. I'm still going to go out there every single day trying to work towards what I consider my peak, which is, the goals I have in my own head. So, it's a little bit of a different experience when you're kind of alternating reps and stuff like that. But I think it's largely the same. And I think that everybody knows in this business, there's always competition. And there's really 32 jobs, and that's it.
Derek made a claim recently about him and Hunter and Foster being undefeated in pool volleyball. I was told the best competition was Kelsey, Darren, and Mac Hollins. I know you have some volleyball experience around you. Were you ever involved in these games, and how good are they?
I was involved in some games. There was definitely some shady officiating from time to time that went along there. Saying that Darren and Kelsey and them were the best competition, I think it's a little bit revisionist history if you want the truth. Me and Daniel combined put together a pretty formidable squad. He's kind of got that like Ivan Drago, Rocky IV kind of power punch, and he can kind of get that overhead real violent motion, and I'm married to a setter, so I kind of understand how the game's played. So I'm in there just quarterbacking, dishing, doing that whole thing. But yeah, I don't know exactly. A lot of the games happened in Derek's pool, and I don't know exactly what he did to construct the pool, but boy, does it feel like they get all the bounces in there. I mean, there's a lot of arguing, and I don't know if you guys know Foster, but Foster just wins every argument because he just talks louder longer. So it's like, okay, bro, you can take the point, like whatever. It's just not worth it. Like we've been arguing about this for 5 minutes. Like I just saw it hit your finger and go out of bounds, but like if you're gonna say it's not, like I see you going like this every time we look away. But it is what it is. It's competition. It's good for everybody.
I actually played college volleyball at Kansas. So
yeah.
You could be.
Yeah, the two of them. We just need 4 more, and we can put together a little squad. I'll be 1, Daniel will be 1, we need 2 more.
Mac did a great job last year helping you out with the punts and downing them inside the 10 to 20. Is there a guy on the team that you're keeping your eye on that potentially could be somebody that helps you out a lot this year on teams?
Yeah, I think the time that we have now to the season is sort of, now that we know who's going to be here, who the kind of roster is, and they're figuring out, who's going to be active on game day and all those different things. We'll have 2 opportunities kind of tomorrow and next week to sort of get a lot of those pooch punt reps and figure out, who that guy might be. But I think we have a lot of really capable gunners. They've been working all spring, all summer, working with, like having a guy like Danny Amendola here is awesome because he's played so many reps at returner and he can kind of be good for them to know, and he's coaching them great. Swin's been great with them. I mean, we've got a really, we've kind of got a luxury that we have a lot of good options to choose from. Mac had the role last year, but whoever ends up doing it this year, I've got a lot of confidence in. I mean, those guys that have been doing it have made a lot of plays in practice.
Do you miss the Mac Hollins wisdom?
Dude, how do you not miss Mac Hollins? I mean, I was like, we were sitting there, we got to LA for the the Rams game, and they had the Falcons-Bengals game going on, and they're showing Mac Hollins. He's walking barefoot, and he's like doing some like little hand motion, like while he's walking. He's got his eyes closed, walking barefoot through the turf. He's trying to get grounded on plastic. The guy's a nut, but yeah, you got to miss him. All right, cool. I'll see you guys next week.